Hello, and welcome back to Our Elite Escapes. I'm Jim Sadlier, and today Dan and Melody sit down with Brian from Aleenta Resorts and Spa in Thailand. Take it away, Dan and Melody.
Thank you so much for that great introduction, Dad, and welcome back to our Elite Escapes. I'm your host, Dan Sadlier, with my co-host, Melody Sadlier, and today we have on Brian from the Aleenta Resorts and Spas, and we are so in Thailand, and we are so excited to have him. So with that being said, make sure to stay to the end of this episode so you can get a sneak peek inside the Aleenta Resorts and Spas. But also, if you haven't already, make sure to click the subscribe button below, like this video, share it with all your travel-loving friends, and we are so grateful for all your support. So with that, Brian, thank you again for being with us today. Could you provide us with an overview of the Aleenta Retreat Chiang Mai and Aleenta Phuket? What sets these resorts apart from other luxury options in Thailand?
Well, great pleasure to be with you, and thanks for inviting me on. So, yeah, Aleenta Retreat Chiang Mai is a brand new hotel, which was opened just in April last year, 2023. So we're just over 1 year old. It's a 44-room luxury boutique hotel right on the outskirts of Chiang Mai City, which is the second city in Thailand. It's a beautiful, beautifully architected wood structure, which is constructed from old Thai houses, in fact, which have been repurposed into this beautifully architected new building, which is what I call the Aleenta Retreat Chiang Mai. So it's got a really unique feel and flavor to it, even though it's a new property, it's steeped in history. And it's been very successful so far in its first year, and hoping to go from strength to strength next year. And then if you are full of all the culture that you get in Chiang Mai in northern Thailand, which is a non-beach city, you can move towards Phuket, which is what Thailand is a little bit more famous for stereotypically, which is beautiful beaches. So Aleenta Phuket is a property which is just about 30 minutes from Phuket International Airport. It's a beautiful property that's been very recently renovated in the last couple of years. 66 rooms, most of the rooms are a private pool. And with both properties, really what you're getting is a nice proximity to an international airport, so you can be at the property very soon after landing. You've got a very personalized Thai-friendly welcome, and it's sort of a boutique service that you don't quite necessarily get from the bigger chains. So we're a smaller, 100% privately owned Thai company, and we really pride ourselves in sort of really nice initiatives for guests, which are kind of steeped in 5-star luxury for the boutique style traveler.
Wow. We know that both resorts emphasize wellness, which, us women really like that. Could you detail some of the bespoke wellness programs available and explain to our guests how they could benefit with this during their stay at your resorts?
Yeah, absolutely, Melody. So both resorts offer very significant offerings in wellness, anything from a couple of hours within the spa for rest and relaxation, right the way up to a curated 10-day plus retreat, which would involve deep levels of meditation, Tai Chi, yoga, and even visiting monks in local temples to go and meditate with them off-site. So basically, if you're looking to do something quite substantial in a sort of a 3, 5, 7, or 10-day routine, we have a selection of curated retreats in both Chiang Mai and Phuket that people can partake in and engage in, and they get a really dedicated sort of set of services right throughout each day, which guides them through a wellness journey. And that wellness journey would be made up of mind, body, and soul work. So it would be anything from yoga and meditation for mind and body, right the way through to the wellness options within the restaurant that kind of synergize everything that you're trying to achieve in that day. And even if you're just a guest coming to stay at one of our properties, you can also avail of the complimentary wellness classes that run right throughout the day. So we have several specific times where we do yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, and other sorts of physical and mental relaxation and dedication sessions, which you can partake in free of charge, complimentary for the first 2 sessions for all guests who come to stay with us at Aleenta Retreat and in Aleenta Phuket.
See, that's great. I love all that wellness that you guys have there, the spa and all that type of stuff. And then I imagine since you're a wellness resort, there has to be some sustainability. So sustainability is such a significant focus on a lot of travelers today. Could you discuss the sustainability initiatives at Aleenta and how it's implemented at both resorts?
Yeah, for sure, Stan. So basically, we are one of the early adopters when it comes to sustainability. In fact, Aleenta as a brand was one of the first hotels in Asia to implement a no single-use plastic policy. So all those little bottles that shampoos come in, or the little cartons that your butter on your breakfast table comes in, all of those things we eradicated top to bottom. So we are now single-use plastic free for about 6 years across all the Aleenta hotels. And you really notice this when you come and stay with us, because you really struggle to find anything that's a single-use plastic item. And that was quite a really huge initiative for us. And it was one of the very early people in Asia did something like this. So anything from that small but not insignificant piece right the way up to solar energy. So we have about 250 kilowatts plus of solar energy installed at Aleenta Phuket, which takes a great advantage of the sort of 12-hour day-long sunshine we get almost right throughout the year. And that takes care of a large part of our electricity bill, and obviously it's a renewable source of energy. So we have actually a huge list of other things that we do, in particular in Aleenta Retreat Chiang Mai. Because that's our newest hotel, we were able to employ a large number of different initiatives there right throughout the property, which are associated with energy saving, which are associated with reduction of waste. And even simple things, like the construction of the property itself is actually from repurposed wood from 150 years ago to make a new structure. So there's a ton of really great initiatives right to the core of the properties. And myself and the team have been deeply involved in this and very passionate about sustainability for ourselves and for our children and for our customers.
I was wondering, who are the typical guests at these resorts? And how are the services tailored to meet their specific needs?
Sure. So we actually get a really wide range of guests, both from age demographic and geographical remit. So if you look at the kinds of guests we typically have, they can be anything from solo travelers coming through to stay for a few days, perhaps to do a retreat, through your honeymoon, or couples with a young child or young family, right the way up to large groups of, say, multi-generational families. So for some of our larger villas in Phuket, which are up to sort of 4 or 5 bedroom and spacious up to about 550 or 600 square meters, we can have anything from large families of 10 to 12 in one of those villas. And then sometimes we also get larger groups for weddings and so on. So it can be a wide range of anything from sort of solo travelers, families, and so forth. And then when it comes to geography, we're really wide ranging in terms of our patrons. Gladly, we're getting a lot more US guests now post-COVID as the flight patterns start to come back again. And I think over the next couple of years, there's a number of reasons why we're going to see a few more people coming from the US. I think the flights and the routes increasing is going to be a huge, huge benefit to us. Plus also White Lotus, which is a very famous HBO TV show, is being filmed right now at the moment in Thailand. And so we're sort of expecting that there might be an influx of new patrons to Thailand from the US and other places, simply because of that show, and some other countries from previous seasons have seen that. But in terms of geography of our guests, are from all over Asia, all over Europe, Australasia, and of course US and Canada. And we welcome all those guests, and we try to meet their needs in whichever way possible.
Very nice. Yeah, no, that's great. It's nice that you guys cater to everyone. We've definitely had that experience with White Lotus from before with Sicily, how that just exploded, Hawaii. So yeah, hopefully that will be great for you guys in Thailand, also with the airfare. But we do have a honeymoon couple going to Aleenta Retreat Chiang Mai in December, and they're super excited for that whole wellness program. I mean, this is a very full, well-rounded, sustainable wellness product. So this is great for those types of people and people just looking to get away and relax. So perfect. Well, with that, Brian, let's take a quick 20-second break, and we're going to send it over to Jim.
We only have a few cabins left on a Croatia by private yacht cruise this July 27th through August 3rd. Click the link below and reserve your cabin today.
All right, and we are back. Thank you, Brian from Aleenta Resorts, for joining us today. Just want to kind of go over, I know you already covered some of this, but let's just ask anyway, what are the most unique features and services offered at both Aleenta Retreat Chiang Mai and Aleenta Phuket that guests really can't find anywhere else? Is there anything you could tell us?
Yeah, sure. So I think when I look at Aleenta Phuket, what always appealed to me from the first moment I visited was the seclusion of this white sand beach. It's called Natai Beach. It's where we're physically located, which is about 30 minutes north of Phuket International Airport. So guests, when they land at the airport, can probably clear customs and be at our resort within an hour. And Phuket itself is actually a very busy island. We're on a tiny little beach just about 30 minutes north of the airport, which you can get to nice and quick. But once you get there, the picture that you see behind you there is actually Natai Beach. And that's not untypical of how quiet it actually is. It's a super quiet beach. It's not a private beach, so people are allowed to kind of walk along and so forth, but you never really have to struggle to find any place on the sand to go and lie. You can wander around and enjoy the sort of privacy of it. Now, our resort itself is very secluded. There's parts of it which you have high-walled private garden. Most of our rooms have a private pool. So you really have a sort of a lot of privacy to yourself, but also when you go out onto the beach, a beautiful kind of a seclusion that you kind of dream about when you think about Thailand or you think about beach holidays. But if I'm honest, it's hard to find some days in certain kind of busier resorts and so on. So when it comes to Aleenta Phuket, I think that's a really unique feature. And as I mentioned earlier during our chat, the construction at Aleenta Retreat Chiang Mai is really very unique in the way it's done. It kind of draws from a very old-fashioned style of making houses from a press foot golden teak construction. And when you visit our property, as your guests will in December, they're going to be able to see this set of beautiful teak villas. And in particular, there's a beautiful piano bar called the 1892, which is constructed in this way. And it's got a wonderful, unique vibe to it where guests can enjoy a cocktail or a whiskey or whatever they like to do in the evening and relax while the piano plays under the construction of this beautiful sort of golden teak ancient wood. So I'm really excited for your guests to visit us there, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to celebrate their honeymoon in a wellness way, but also with a couple of drinks and enjoy themselves at our bar.
Oh, sounds amazing. Well, Brian, I'm a foodie, okay? So could you describe the dining experiences at the resorts? How do you ensure that the food offerings reflect both Thai culture and the wellness at those of the resorts?
Yeah, for sure. Great question. So we really focus quite heavily on our culinary exploits and try to provide patrons with a really wide range of options which meet both their expectations from a taste perspective, but also from a wellness perspective. And so at Aleenta Phuket, we've actually got two restaurants in-house. One is called The Edge, which, as the name suggests, is right on the edge of the hotel, and it kind of faces out to the sea. So it's a beautiful panoramic view of the sea. But when it comes to the actual plate, we've got a really wide range of fresh seafood, vegetarian and vegan options, as well as really nice meats, which are kind of heavily curated by our Italian head chef. So our European chef is a sort of a guy who's lived and worked all over the world in many restaurants, but now he's been based in Thailand for 10 years. So he's kind of infused European cooking and culinary culture with a sort of Thai feel too. Plus he's got a second in command Thai assistant head chef who kind of really brings home that really traditional Thai piece. And so that Edge restaurant provides what we call an Asian Western fusion menu, which is everything from the things that you'd know, kind of regular staple diet from the places like the US and Europe, right the way through different things that you can find throughout Asia, including things like sushi and pad Thai and all the sort of famous Thai dishes that you can get. But we didn't stop there. Just in this last year, we've also opened a second fine dining experience, which is the vegan fine dining experience. It's called the Seasons. It reflects the fact that during the seasons, the food that you can obtain from vegetarian and vegan, specifically vegan options, can vary as the produce varies. And everything we serve at this restaurant is sourced from the local province. Anything from the butter right the way up through the main courses, everything is made with vegan-based product, which is sourced from the province. And it's an 8-course fine dining experience. There's 2 tracks. You can do Asian or you can do Western. And it's in its first sort of about 12 months of being open, it's garnered close to 100 5-star reviews on Google so far. And we're thinking we might try and go for a Michelin star at some point for that one. So that's a really, really optimistic view, but I've been through that restaurant a number of times and tried all of the different courses and combinations, and it's a really, really beautiful fine dining experience. And over in Aleenta Retreat, Chiang Mai, we've got the Alfresco Garden Restaurant, which is, again, as the name suggests, it really does take a lot from the sort of wellness aspect of the vegetarian options, but also provides Asian and Western fusion options right the way throughout, for everything from kids right the way up to people who want to go hardcore into the wellness and the diet piece. So all 3 restaurants that I mentioned there are doing really well for us so far. And we do get walk-ins coming in just to taste and test the food and maybe then make it a stay at a later stage. So yeah, that's what we do when it comes to culinary.
All 3 sound amazing. I would love that edge, that view. I'm sure that's amazing to just kind of sit and relax and take in the view as you're eating some great food, a tasty menu. Who doesn't like that type of stuff, So very nice. That's cool to hear of what great options you have, especially, hey, I hope you guys make it to that Michelin star. That would be huge. So
yeah,
I always enjoy
Thanks a lot.
I'm always with Melody with being a foodie, so we're always eating. But we actually do have a question, 2 questions, but I'll start with the first one from one of our viewers. Kelly from St. Louis asks, what tips or advice would you give to someone planning their first visit to Aleenta Retreat Chiang Mai or Aleenta Phuket, or both?
Yeah, great question. So I think if you're planning and if you're thinking about booking, our reservations team and as in turn the agents that work with our reservation team are always happy to answer any questions. Thailand's a long way, in particular from the US, the other side of the world. Lots of people have lots of fears or little questions, or how does this work, or how does that work? So the first thing I'd say is don't be scared. Everything is laid on. We take a great deal of care from the moment we pick you up at the airport right the way till you check out with us. We're always there to help, and even before this stay, we're absolutely open to answering any questions, and our team are super, super aware of making sure that people are coming from a long way and they might have lots of little questions. So we're sort of always happy to help. But I think that the main thing which I would think about when you come on the plan to stay with us is prepare to enjoy and relax and feel safe and relaxed and secure in the property. And if you want to, say, take a couple of excursions or do something exciting or whatever when you're here, we're always happy to help you set that up once you get here. So I think it's look forward to the stay, and feel free to reach out anytime. And then once you're with us, never think that anything is too big an ask. We're always happy to help.
Oh, that was such great advice, Brian. But I have a question from Rob from Chicago. He's asking, now outside of your hotels, what do you suggest that guests do for activities in Thailand?
For sure. So both Chiang Mai and Phuket have a ton of different things that you can do once you get there. I would say that Chiang Mai in particular is a non-beach location, so there's a lot more sort of cultural things to do. So there is street food, night market. There's a fantastic set of temples. We're right at the foot of the Doi Suthep mountain, which is the most famous mountain that overlooks Chiang Mai. And within the city itself, it's a low-rise city. It's nothing like Bangkok. It's a lot more slow-moving, a lot quieter, a lot more walkable, and actually a little bit cooler because of its more northerly location. So it's a great city to walk around and visit art galleries, check out the local art scene. We have some great craft beers and really great coffee stops and so on. So it's a really beautiful place just to kill a few days or hours messing about, enjoying yourself and just kind of exploring. Chiang Mai is also super famous for food, so you can easily sort of take little food tours either with the hotel or just pop out yourself for a half a day into town and kind of wander around a little bit. So Chiang Mai itself, really wonderful for that. And then Phuket, we have like a number of curated excursions that we suggest to people. There's, many things you can do in around Phuket, including diving and snorkeling, and obviously anything associated with the beach. We've also got some whitewater rafting, would you believe, on Phuket. And there's tons of things to do for kids, sort of like water parks and lots and lots of fun things that you can do around that. But one of the most famous excursions that we tend to do is a sort of a half day or 3/4 day excursion to a place which is kind of historic, is kind of known as James Bond Island. So one of the really older James Bond films from the 1970s, The Man with the Golden Gun, was filmed extensively in Thailand. And so that site, the particular island that was used in that film, was sort of a major part of that film. And anybody who's seen any of the older Bond movies would immediately recognize this as the villain's lair. So we do an excursion, like, which is a half a day from our site. It's a speedboat trip up to do some snorkeling and swimming and having a packed lunch and kind of staying on the island for a bit, and then going to see this James Bond location and so on. So that's one of many excursions that we run out of Phuket. And whether it's beach or whether it's culture, whether you want to just lie around for a bit or you want to go out every day and do something new, there's a ton of things to do.
I love it. Both of these resorts sound phenomenal. And I mean, Thailand is just such I don't even want to say up and coming, because I feel like it's already there, but I think more and more people are really starting to request it, very interested in it, just from, like how you said, in the movies, and they get to see these views, see how beautiful it is. So now we know that there's definitely 2 plus more Aleenta resorts, but 2 amazing resorts in Thailand. So if you're watching this, if you want to go to Thailand, make sure that we set up some stays for you at the Aleenta resorts, both in Phuket, Chiang Mai. But with that, Brian, thank you so much for taking your time today and staying up with us late, since you are in Thailand. And we appreciate you being with us today. So with that being said, make sure to stay to the end of this episode so you can get a sneak peek inside the Aleenta Resorts brand. If you haven't already, make sure that you click the subscribe button below, like this video, share it with all your travel loving friends, especially anyone who is interested in Thailand. And thank you again, Brian. But we will see all of you next Friday.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Have
you.
a great
beautiful.
day.
Thank you so much for joining us here today on our Elite Escapes. Make sure you come back next Friday as we travel through Ireland with our Luck of Ireland Elite World Group Tour. And now, your sneak peek inside Aleenta Resort and Spa in Thailand.